This is what really blows my mind year after year, is the crowds of people that flood onto the boulevard.
Every year, upwards of 400,000 people come to Vegas for New Year's Eve. But this year, that may be as much as half. And I have evidence that I'll present you in this video as to why New Year's in Vegas might be a dud, and why you might finally get that dream New Year's Eve in Vegas that you've always wanted. Let's go take a walk of the Park MGM and see what's up with New Year's Eve in Vegas. This is kind of wild when I looked into it. Why can I confidently predict that New Year's Eve will look busy but will be vastly underperforming compared to past years? That's just the year we've had. So through October of 2025, we can see that Vegas is down 7.8% for tourists coming into town. Now, it should be noted, this is the worst decline since COVID-19. And if COVID-19 didn't happen, this would be the worst decline in the city's history for literally maybe ever. This is also the first year in maybe 30 years that Vegas had 10 consecutive monthly declines from the year before. Now, monthly declines, they're going to happen. Maybe there's a horrible ice storm that shuts down the East Coast for 2 weeks, and oh, there you got a monthly decline, but not 10 in a row. And then we have the international conundrum. Airlines out of Canada reporting as much as a 62% reduction in passenger traffic to the United States, and Vegas in particular. This has been so bad that some Canadian air carriers have cut entire flights to the United States. There's East Coast destinations from Toronto and Montreal, for example, to places in the East Coast of the United States that simply don't have a flight associated with them anymore. They say, well, we'll think about it after May of 2026. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you know from a previous video that UNLV, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, their Department of Business, where they look at the economics and the economy of the city, they predicted all of this. They predicted a study last year that said that 2025 visitation to Vegas was expected to be only 39.1 million travelers. So everybody knew this was coming, except for us. We didn't see all this. And it was the abuses. It was the hardline pricing. It was the consumers pushing back that broke everybody's back in terms of travel. So we knew this was coming. It was predicted. It would take literally 9 million people, the population of New York City, Manhattan, coming to Vegas in order to break even compared to 2024. But the question remains, is this a uniquely Vegas problem? Or is this happening in other places, other major tourist destinations? I did some research. Check this out. The answer is mixed. You see, in the economy we're in right now, with millions of layoffs happening across the board, we've hit 1.1 million as we've reported on this channel nationwide. Or in October with 153,000 layoffs, more layoffs than almost 30 years ago. Yeah, the last time we saw that was during the dot-com bubble. A lot of people feel economic uncertainty right now. They don't know what's going on. They have no idea where their next rent payment is coming from in many cases. And some people that do have cash are just holding on to their money desperately. You know, and even in places where people are traveling, like New York City, where they actually are beating Vegas in terms of occupancy drops, New York City is seeing an average of $303 room rates. Because why? Because the only people traveling right now are what we on this channel call the AA crowd. They're the affluent and the asset-holding people. They're the ones that can afford the economy that we're living in. We are entering into a time and place in the economy where if you're making it, you're really making it. And if you're struggling, you're only going to get banged into submission by giant corporations and your work and uncertainty even more. But you can take back control. You just got to become a AA person, affluent and asset holding. Do like my students in my course, 1K a day. That's where we teach people how to trade the futures markets. My students make money when it goes up, they click a button. They click a button, it goes down, they make money. They're making 50 to 250 bucks a day. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, they close their laptop, they go do their regular life. Would it change your life to do something like that? If that's the case, find the code below in the first pinned comment. Type in NYV. I got 3 spots left on this video. And then you're going to get the course for $199. Less than the price of a hotel room in Vegas. And unlike the hotel room in Vegas, you don't got to be paranoid that the hotel room wasn't cleaned and you're not going to get a weird rash. And to answer the question about the other tourist destinations, Miami is down 4.5%. Vegas down 7.6%, of course. New York City occupancy is actually the highest across the country. And places that are really surprising, like San Diego, California, Seattle, Washington, even Boston, Massachusetts, seeing net increases in travelers, which means that something's wrong. And we're going to cover those destinations and compare them to Vegas in a video later on, so be sure to subscribe. But there's something broken in Vegas, and the casinos, they seem to know about it. And 2 different Vegas CEOs have admitted that there's a problem. Bill Hornbuckle from MGM Resorts International is famously quoted as saying, "You can't have a $29 room at Excalibur and a $12 cup of Starbucks coffee." And Caesars Entertainment CEO Tom Reeg saying that they had the slowest summer in some time and their revenues are down 10% for the year. All this plus predatory pricing has just kept people away from town, and my opinion is that I don't see them coming back. Right now, the city is desperate. They had their 5-day fabulous 5-day sale as they called it, and recently they did a Cyber Week sale where rooms were again 55% off with tons of restrictions. We did a video on this. You should go check it out. I mean, heck, have you seen the price of something as simple as Luke's Lobster on the Las Vegas Strip? Yeah, at $47. I'm not sure that many people are going to find New Year's Eve in Vegas a really big value or be able to afford to come here. And the cracks in desperation are actually already showing. I went over to a travel website today and I was looking at prices on the Las Vegas Strip specifically for New Year's Eve. Quite frankly, this is shocking. Look at the prices on Booking.com per night, not per stay. You can get a room on the Las Vegas Strip right now for as low as $238 for December 30th and 31st. It seems that the casinos may have learned their lesson and they can no longer charge the revenge tourism pricing that was getting people filling the hotel rooms post-COVID-19. You remember revenge tourism, right? That's where you had all that pent-up energy and money just to come out and see the world and the things that you loved all over again. Well, guess what? That's 6 years ago, and that's simply not happening anymore. I think the LVCVA CEO Steve Hill said it best when he said this quote. He said, "The main reason is pullback in discretionary spending prompted by uncertainty about the economy. And unless you're one of those AA people, you're affluent and asset holding, or you participate in the markets like my traders and you make your $50 to $200 a day, get the course. There's a link below. But unless you're one of those types of people, you're not really confident in the economy right now. So what are you doing in Vegas on New Year's Eve anyways?" Now, you may be what I call a Pollyanna or a contrarian or just somebody who is disagreeable because of me reasons. You might be saying that 300,000 to 400,000 people is what they're saying. 300,000 to 400,000 people is what we'll get. There's a really funny thing about those numbers, though. See, those numbers are solely projections. But the UNLV study that we went over that has correctly, exactly pinpointed the lack of tourists has built that into the projections. They're singing a different tune whether they will admit it on paper or not. And whereas they haven't given particular numbers for New Year's Eve, they said we'd be down around 2.6 to 3 million people, and gosh darn it, that's exactly what we're down right now. And if you remember, we were also supposed to have the summer recovery. You know, when everybody just decided to spend their vacation time all at once. Those things never played out either. So when we put it all together, we have all of the indicators for a weaker than normal New Year's Eve in Vegas. You think about it this way, 2026 top economists are calling out a close to 90% in some cases chance of a full-blown recession in America. We have consumer spending being down almost every single month and quarter this year. Canadians simply not coming into the city. Consumers being completely tapped out, worried about their job security and holding on to every last dollar they have, choosing to stay closer to home. And if they really need to get to a casino, it's either legal on their phone where they live or there's one within driving distance. So what's that all mean for you? Well, it means that you guys got to get off your duffs and do something in 2026 to participate in the economy. But until then, you might get some heck of a deals in Vegas. I mean, look, AI is coming for us all. It's probably going to take your job, which is why you got to learn something like trading. Become a student. Find the coupon code below. But until then, go to like flights.google.com, go to hotels.google.com and set some price alerts. Find the cheapest hotel in Vegas you can find today and see if it drops in price, because $250 right now, as low as $200 to stay on the Las Vegas Strip is already a fire sale. Take advantage of this stuff. And for those of you guys who do gamble in these casino properties, I highly recommend that you reach out to your host or to the department that does comps and see if there's any special offers for you. The worst they can say is no, but just because that algorithm hasn't pulled you up yet and put you on a call list, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. And in the meantime, I want to give you guys some advice that my mentor gives me on a daily basis, and that is just keep swimming. Like, never give up hope on yourself to do something better. And going into 2026, before you make your final plans for how you're going to put out 2025 into the pasture, I want you guys to consider making some moves in your life. Because you don't know what 2026 will bring unless you do something about it. Because if you don't do anything about it, it's just going to bring you the exact same thing that you had in 2025, which for a lot of you guys is frustration, anger, resentment towards those who have more than you. And I just want you to know, you can be that person that you always wanted to be. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.